This woman just ruined her entire life by sleeping with 7 police officers while being married. Now, if you've been keeping up with the channel, you may remember the other woman who was also caught with a similar story sleeping with 5 police officers. You may remember this infamous clip. Indeed, she do know how to ride. Anyways, since then, we've had a lot of cop stories, and this one is by far the most cringe. Apparently, all the people involved in this situation completely denied having relations with each other until the spouses of the people involved released these Omega cringe texts, which we'll look at in a second, that expose them all.
Overnight 911 dispatcher Crystal Perez has been placed on unpaid administrative leave, along with Bexar County Sheriff Sergeant Ronaldo Salinas and Deputy Juan Leal. All 3 have received notices of proposed termination. Many of the texts are too explicit for us to share. Sergeant Salinas to Dispatcher Perez: "I feel so hot and sexy when I'm..." Perez: "I can feel it, all of it, and I love it." Salinas: "We need another hotel day."
Alright, so before we get into some more secondhand embarrassment with these god-awful texts, let me just say, why can't they keep it in their pants? 7 people? 7 people, really? You need 7 people to feel satisfied? Is your lack of self-control really that bad that you need to go through the entire police department to actually satisfy it? Not to mention, right? All of the people involved in this situation, including the girls and the guys, are all married. Now, later in the video, we can actually see the husband and wives of these officers actually just have a breakdown in the interview because this is just heartbreaking, right? You think marriage is for life, but apparently it's for smashing 7 other dudes.
"We need another hotel day." Deputy Leal to Dispatcher Perez: "I can't wait for us to be naked and us caressing each other and then kissing each other all over." Perez: "Expletive, yes."
All right, who texts like this? "I can't wait for us to be okay, maybe this is just inexperienced Pegasus talking here, but you will not catch me dead talking like this ever. Even if I was married, I would never send these text messages to my partner ever, let alone not my partner, you know? Listen, I'm gonna reveal a little secret to you guys, okay? Ever since I became an internet person, I've been on perpetual awareness mode, okay? I've covered like a million stories of YouTubers and streamers and just celebrities being exposed for the cringiest messages of all time. And oftentimes it's not really the cringe that's the problem. It's usually something illegal or not cool that they're doing. I don't know, cheating or something. I don't care if you're a soulmate or my mom. You aren't getting a single affectionate text. I will not text my mom "I love you" because, Mom, I don't want to be exposed on the internet for being cringe. Okay, that was a joke. But I don't know at this point. So now it gets a little bit more deep and serious. Basically, the husband who got cheated on, obviously, responds in an interview, and he's pretty shaken up. He's pretty heartbroken.
She just loved my life, and it was very distraught, heartbreaking. I was in disbelief.
The dispatcher's husband, Giancarlo Perez, discovered texts between his wife and 6 sheriff's deputies, plus a City of Converse police officer. In December, he gave them to Internal Affairs, and an investigation was opened.
Man, you can see the guy like barely being able to keep it together for the interview. And it's not like this guy's like a soy boy emotional person or anything. This guy's like a straight up macho man, but obviously, I mean, his life has just been shattered. When your wife cheats on you, what are you gonna do? I can't imagine actually just like giving my life to somebody and loving them so much throughout all these years, and then they turn around and just smash 7 dudes at work. Not even 1, just like 7, huh? You just have to like repeatedly put in that dagger. He seems like such a good guy as well. I just feel really bad for him. Now, it turns out that he's actually the guy who snitched or whatever, but I don't really consider it like snitching or anything. If your wife literally cheated on you, obviously you're gonna want to get some sort of revenge and report her to the authorities, or you're just being an upstanding citizen and, you know, getting her fired from a post that she's clearly just not qualified to be in.
They use emojis to reference body parts, and they would talk about, you know, kissing, making out, and all these, like I said, just sexual connections.
Perez took screenshots of the text from his wife's phone, and many of the timestamps are missing, so it's not clear if the texters were on duty. But in one thread on a Friday night at 10:20 p.m., Sergeant Salinas tells Dispatcher Perez, "I get off at midnight." came in early.
Okay, so in my opinion, this is where it gets really bad, because it's one thing to do it on your own time, right? If you're cheating on your own time, then it's a personal problem between you and your husband or whatever, and the rest of the officers. But this is all off work, so it doesn't matter. But if you're doing it on duty, that's when it changes, and everybody has a reason to get extremely mad at you, because you're using these taxpayer dollars to lounge around at work and sleep with people. I just never understood the concept of like signing up for such a serious and demanding job such as being a police officer when people are entrusting their literal safety to you, and still being so incredibly irresponsible to just bone a couple of coworkers during work time. Like, if I call 911 and I hear some smooching sounds, I am going Joker mode, okay? I'm gonna pull a society, okay? Now, originally in this video I was actually gonna go through each message and read it all just to, go through some of the cringe, but after careful analysis and reflection, you guys can pause and read it for yourselves. I don't want to get clipped on the internet like this, man. People just don't understand. I have a limit, okay? People drink alcohol, they get alcohol poisoning. I drink cringe, I get cringe poisoning. Have you checked my cringe levels, my blood cringe levels? Over the goddamn moon.
Very hard for me to read.
I can imagine.
Jessica Jarvis is now divorcing a fourth sheriff's employee who is being disciplined. Investigator Jason Jarvis received a proposed suspension of 30 days.
These are people that are supposed to be protecting us, supposed to be serving, and making sure the community is safe.
It's quite possible that some people are going to lose their career as a result of this.
Okay, so this part I just don't understand. How is it quite possible and not just a done deal? Like, the evidence is right there. Like, if you're spending people's hard-earned money to fool around in your office and not do the job you're supposed to do, then you should get fired. There's just no case about it. You're literally just out here acting like animals, unable to control your base desires in a job that requires immense self-control. I feel so bad for the deputy's wife as well, because obviously there's the other side of the coin, because all the 7 police officers that actually took part in this train going to Disneyland, obviously they all had wives as well. So they're also heartbroken. It's just a horror case, like, all around. Everybody is to blame here, and everybody who took part in this train ride should definitely face accountability. I would say minimum lose their jobs. Some people think it's like not a big deal, they're just porking at work or whatever, but I feel like it's just a mockery of the whole system, and I do not trust these type of police officers to save me when I'm in trouble. Now, as to what happens in the future, we first gotta look back to the previous case of Megan Hall. Basically, if you remember her response, it was to sue the entire city and to avoid responsibility for her actions and just play victim.
I remember while interviewing for the position at Laverne Police Department, they described the environment as a family. However, while I was aspiring to protect my community, the Laverne Police Department was not protecting me.
By now, most of the country knows what happened. Hall, 4 other officers, and the police chief were fired last month. Now Hall and her attorney, Wesley Clark, are suing those 3 supervisors and the city in federal court for civil rights violations.
Megan wasn't looked at like a rookie cop to be trained and promoted. She was looked at as a piece of meat.
Now, obviously, the lawyer is going to leave out all the context, the fact that Megan actually took several pictures of what was happening, asked her husband to also get in on the train with the 5 guys, and also simultaneously saying that she's a victim. She went on this ridiculous case of manipulation and twisting information to make it seem like she was actually the victim when she was a willing participant in all of the activities that took place in that police department. Now, my guess is that a similar thing is going to happen in this situation, because taking accountability is something that people just can't seem to do. So they will try to play victim and get as much out of the situation as humanly possible. Listen, guys, I just managed to slip and fall into 7 police officers, and they also slipped at the same time, actually. So you don't understand. We're not actually cheaters or irresponsible at our job. We're just unlucky that we slipped. We didn't see the caution wet floor sign. Disgusting all around. I hope all the spouses get justice for what happened to them, and the officers all get fired. Click this video or they join your police department. Bye-bye.